Hi, this is Carrie with Carrie Concealed and the Active Self-Protection Extra channel. And I have been doing a little bit of cleaning out, getting rid of some things over the past couple days, and I came across some fun things, kind of took a trip down memory lane, and thought it might be kind of fun to share with you some of the things that I came across, some of the things that I have used over my 20 years of concealed carry.
Palm pepper spray is next generation OC spray. It's hot at 1.4% major capsaicinoids, and its modular design means you can customize it exactly to you. 3 different setups, lots of different color combinations. You can make it exactly as you like. And the flip top safety prevents accidental discharges. It's 10 to 12 foot range and 25 half-second blasts. Make sure that you can keep that long range eye poke at long range. I trust Palm OC and I recommend it for everyone for self-defense.
All right, well, 20 plus years ago when I was looking for information and resources on how to conceal carry, there wasn't a lot out there locally available to me. The internet, yes, we had the internet, but we lived rurally, so just didn't have good internet speeds. I'm pretty sure we were on dial-up back then. So being able to look things up quickly on the internet just wasn't something that we could do, nor did I really have time for, because I had a lot of little kids at that time. So there weren't many reliable resources to help me figure out how to conceal carry with my expanding belly. I think we were expecting a kid about that time. And so I was reliant on the guy at the gun counter to help me figure out what to do. And he was very kind and very helpful and did the best that he knew how to do. And he took me down to the revolver section. And that made sense to me, actually, because my dad carried a revolver for his duty weapon. And I had experience with revolvers. I had extremely limited experience with auto-loading pistols at that time. So it did make sense to me to go the revolver route. So he helped me pick out a very nice .38 Special Smith & Wesson airweight revolver. I thought it would be great and wonderful until I pressed the trigger the first few times and felt that punishing recoil. But that's what I had. And then trying to figure out how to carry it on my body, my dad actually found this little fanny pack that was designed for concealed carry at a local gun store. And so he bought it for me. And it actually worked pretty well. The revolver slid into here and you could tighten down the retention on this so that it wouldn't slip out. But this actually worked pretty well for me for a few years. It certainly seemed like a better option than the fellow at the gun counter told me. He said that because it was a revolver, I didn't even need a holster for it. I could just slip it right in my pocket, and with that heavy 10 to 12 pound trigger press, I would be just fine. But to me, with young kids, that appeared that seemed horrifying. Still does to me, to be quite honest, but that's where I am. Maybe you're at a different place in your journey. So this worked pretty well for me for a while, and I was content with this. It was really easy to get on and off, and I could secure it easily when I wasn't wearing it. Could put it in the gun safe and lock it up until we went on our next outing. For some reason at that time, I wasn't even cognizant of the fact that I might need to protect myself and my children in our own home. At that time, I thought threats would be more outside the house. So anyway, so that lasted me for quite a while, a couple years. And then once baby was old enough to be without mom for a week or so, I went to my first formal firearm training course, and that was at Thunder Ranch in Southern Oregon. It was about a 13-hour drive for me to get there. Right before I attended that class, I had been reading Miss Vicky Farnham's book, Teaching Women to Shoot. And I became aware in one of her chapters, she talks about holsters. And I hope you'll be able to see this. But this picture right here, you can see how the waist lengths are different on the man than on the woman. The woman's waist is a much higher waist or a shorter waist than the man's. And so it can make it difficult for women to draw from holster if they have high-waisted pants, or if it's a right on the belt mounted holster, a higher mounting holster. It can cause women to have to lean over to get enough grip to be able to draw the holster. So I knew that if I was going to make it through 5 days of class, that I probably should go for a drop offset route, like Miss Vicky talks about in her book. So I did that. So I ordered this holster from, I think it was, I don't even know who it was from actually. But anyway, I ordered this holster, and you can see it has the drop here, and then it's got a little bit of an offset, so it's out from the body just a little bit, which made it a little bit easier for reholstering and that sort of thing. And I was all ready to go. I was all packed up, ready to go to Thunder Ranch. And the night before I left, I thought, boy, I'm going to see what this feels like on my pants with my belt. And so I got my regular belt out and realized that, oh no, I have a big problem. I don't know where I put, oh, here we go. This to be able to show you. So you can see how wide this opening here is. And the belt goes through that opening. You can see how much space there is there, which means this can ride up and down quite a bit, and that can be difficult for drawing. It can just move all over the place and make it really tough. So I realized that I would need a much wider belt. So thankfully, on my drive down to Thunder Ranch, I stopped in the Tri-Cities, and Griggs Sporting Goods store was open, and I was able to go in, and thank goodness for Black Hawk and Uncle Mike's, because otherwise I'd have been in real big trouble. But I was able to find and buy this larger, this wider width belt, which worked perfectly with the width of the opening of this holster and kept it nice and secure. I didn't have any belt loops at that time that could even fit a 2-inch belt. So for years, I just simply wore this with the holster on around my waist, low on my waist like this, just outside of my pants and coat. And then I just have a longer concealment garment. I did not conceal carry like that. I found really early on that trying to conceal carry with a drop offset for me was just not going to be an option. Certainly, yeah, anyway. So, this worked pretty well for me for a couple years, just a couple years. I didn't run this system for too long. In about 2 or 3 years after I started training, I found a belt that I forgot to get out before now, but it worked really well for me. It was just an 1.25 inches wide, and that would fit through most of my belt loops, and that helped me be able to use holsters like this without having to have such a wide belt around the outside of everything. So that very first course I took with my drop offset holster, that really lit a fire in me to find a CCW compatible holster that I would be able to use and integrate into my life. So that led me to this one right here. This is the, let's see, Black Arch Holsters Pro Toast model. And I think I got this in early 2016, I want to say. And it looks a little different probably. One of the cool things when I got this, it came with a box. It was pretty expensive, but you could put different backers on the holster, and it also came with a bunch of different clips, different length clips, different width clips, different screws and different spacers. And it was ideal for helping me figure out how to best use this. So anyway, I found out very, very quickly that 3 o'clock to 6 o'clock carry was absolutely not going to work for me. My hips are wider than my shoulders, which is the case for a lot of women, and putting a gun on it made it even wider, and so it was very difficult for me to conceal. So that box that came with this holster that had all of those different clips in it and spacers and screws allowed me to experiment with this, and I was able to take something that was designed to be worn inside the waistband at 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock, and I was able to actually shift that forward and carry in front. So I was able to have forward of the hip carry, which was ideal for me because I was able to use my anatomy to have my shirt drape a little bit, and it would cover and it would conceal pretty well actually. So I was able to finally conceal carry my full-size gun forward of the hip, and that worked really well. I believe I took my first class with this holster in like early 2017. I did end up using this. I made it pistol-mounted optic compatible by a little bit of Dremel work on it. Once I left the Amish, I needed to do that, so I just used a little Dremel tool here to carve away the holster area so the optic would be able to be on the gun in the holster. So that worked out pretty well. Let's see, I've got a couple notes there. One of the things I noticed, I probably used this for, I would say, I don't know, 2 years or so, but one of the things I noticed is it left kind of with certain fabrics and certain shirts, especially in the summertime, the drape of the fabric would kind of accentuate the holster. And it seemed like there was a bump here. that felt very visible to me. And I thought, goodness, if I could just have a bump that went all the way across the front instead of just on one side of the front, that might make it look a little bit more uniform. So that led me on a quest to try to find I wanted to find a holster that was designed for appendix inside the waistband carry. And so I was able to find one, and it's this one here. So this is a holster with an appendage, I like to say. And this worked really well for me with some discrete carry concepts clips and a super wide wing on it to push in the grip into my tummy. I'm able to comfortably conceal a full-size gun, and with an optic and a reload. I'm not carrying this because a reload is important for private citizens. We know what we see on the main channel about that. I carry it this way because for me, it gives me a more uniform look in the front, and it's that uniformity that the eye is not attracted to. When there's a bump there, that the eye could be attracted to that. So this wider holster and its appendage gave me the profile I needed to be able to conceal carry this gun on my frame and I did for years and years, well, until 2022, I guess it was. So in early 2022, I'd had an Enigma for a little while, and I just wasn't committed to trying to make it work. I should have been, but I had a couple friends that made theirs work, and I thought, it's about time. And so I transitioned to the Enigma. What made that transition so easy for me was the option of the sport belt. It just made it a seamless transition. So I appreciate the better concealment that the Filster Enigma allows me. I'll show you this one right here. This is a student one that I have set up here. But I appreciate that I don't have to wear pants with belt loops. I don't even have to only buy pants with belt loops anymore because I don't have to wear a belt, which is really, really convenient. So I appreciate the wardrobe options that it affords me. 6 months ago, so I've been carrying with an Enigma. I transitioned to that very seamlessly, and that was in 2022. And then late last year, so 2023, I was getting ready for Mr. Gabe White's class in South Dakota with the ASP team. And I really wanted to try a pistol-mounted light, but not for the reasons that you might think. And if you ever want to talk about that sometime, I'd be happy to visit with you offline about that. But to me, it seemed a great time to try out one of the Filster Floodlight Enigma kits. And I've been extremely happy with how that works on my frame. I'm able to carry my VP9 with a weapon-mounted light on it and an optic, and able to conceal that really just as easily as I can conceal my the option I was using for my belt. It's a little easier even though the floodlight's a bigger holster, and because it needs to be to accommodate that to accommodate the weapon-mounted light, it still works very well for me. So I think we live in a great time now, especially as an instructor. It's so wonderful to be able to tell my students, I'm not ashamed of where I came from, right? Because we all learn as we go, and I didn't know what I didn't know. But it's such a blessing to be able to tell students about the myriad of options they have now. I mean, we have the Enigma, which I think anybody's crazy to not start with the Enigma. I encourage my students to do that. It's much easier for them to be able to begin concealed carrying if they start with the Enigma, I've found. But there's also great holsters, like KSG Armory makes some great holsters. I have some students that are, because of medical conditions and grip issues and that sort of thing, are only able to carry a .22 long rifle caliber handgun. And thankfully, KSG Armory makes holsters for those. So we live in a time where it's pretty easy to find holsters for the guns that we want to carry. But anyway, I hope that's been fun for you, and tell us about your trip down memory lane. Thank you.